Sometimes that's people's perception out of that kind of thing, but I don't think happy-go-lucky. I think optimist, positive to a fault, really looking on the bright side to a fault.
The John Denver mystery, finally solved and isn't good. John Denver was born Henry John Deutschendorf, Jr. on December 31, 1943, in Roswell, New Mexico. Raised in a military family, his father was a U.S. Air Force pilot. Denver experienced a nomadic childhood, moving frequently across the country. These early years instilled in him both a sense of rootlessness and a deep appreciation for the vastness and natural beauty of the American landscape, themes that would later define his songwriting. John Denver's love for music began early in life, and he received his first guitar from his grandmother at the age of 11. That simple gift proved to be life-changing. Inspired by the likes of Elvis Presley and folk musicians of the 1960s, Denver developed his own musical voice while attending Texas Tech University. Eventually, he moved to Los Angeles to pursue a career in music, changing his name to Denver in honor of Colorado's capital, a state he adored and often celebrated in song. Denver's big break came in 1969 when he wrote "Leaving on a Jet Plane," which became a major hit for Peter, Paul, and Mary. The song's success established him as a promising songwriter, and he soon stepped into the spotlight as a performer in his own right. During the 1970s, John Denver rose to international fame with a string of beloved hits including "Take Me Home, Country Roads," "Annie's Song," "Rocky Mountain High," "Sunshine on My Shoulders," and "Thank God I'm a Country Boy." These songs captured the heart and soul of America's natural splendor and human emotion, blending folk, country, and pop influences into an instantly recognizable sound marked by Denver's warm tenor voice and acoustic guitar. John Denver was not only a celebrated singer-songwriter, but also a multifaceted entertainer who appeared in numerous films and television specials throughout the 1970s and 1980s. One of his most notable acting roles was in the 1977 hit film Oh God, where he starred alongside the legendary comedian George Burns. The film was a commercial success and showcased Denver's natural charisma and warmth beyond his musical talents. His gentle, sincere presence on screen complemented Burns' humor perfectly, helping to make Oh God a beloved classic that balanced comedy with thoughtful themes. Beyond this film, Denver's appearances in TV specials and other screen projects reflected his popularity and his ability to connect with audiences through various media during the peak years of his career. While many remember John Denver primarily as a musician, he continued to record new music well into the 1990s, constantly evolving his sound while remaining true to the folk and country roots that had made him famous. During this period, his work increasingly reflected his growing passion for environmental causes. Denver was an ardent advocate for the protection of natural landscapes and wildlife, often using his music and public platform to raise awareness about ecological issues. He championed conservation efforts and sustainable living, believing deeply in the need to preserve the earth for future generations. In addition to his environmental activism, Denver was a vocal supporter of space exploration, captivated by humanity's potential to explore the cosmos. This interest went beyond mere fascination. He lent his voice and influence to campaigns encouraging funding and public support for NASA and other space programs, seeing exploration as a vital step for human progress. John Denver also made a notable mark by taking a stand against censorship in music. In an era when some musicians faced pressures to alter their art or face bans on airplay, Denver testified before the United States Congress to protest censorship and advocate for artistic freedom. His testimony underscored his commitment to creative expression and his belief that music should serve as a vehicle for truth, inspiration, and connection without being stifled by restrictive regulations. Denver's involvement in these political and social issues showed a deeper dimension to his public persona, one of principled activism and civic engagement beyond his career in entertainment. A defining element of John Denver's identity was his profound love for Colorado, a state whose natural beauty deeply influenced his music and lifestyle. He chose to live in Aspen, Colorado for much of his adult life, finding inspiration in the majestic Rocky Mountains and the vibrant outdoor community there. Aspen was more than just a residence. It was a source of renewal and creative energy for Denver, who often wrote songs celebrating the area's landscapes and spirit. In recognition of his cultural contributions and his embodiment of Colorado's spirit, Denver was named the official poet laureate of the state in 1974. This honor acknowledged his role in elevating Colorado's image and sharing its beauty through his lyrical storytelling. Denver's connection to Colorado was immortalized through his music, particularly with the song Rocky Mountain High, which captured the awe and reverence he felt for the mountains and wilderness. This song was so deeply associated with the state and its identity that in 2007, the Colorado State Legislature officially adopted Rocky Mountain High as one of its 2 state songs. The choice celebrated not only Denver's artistry, but also the song's power to evoke the spirit of Colorado's natural environment. Similarly, his song, Take Me Home, Country Roads, became an anthem for West Virginia, reflecting a heartfelt nostalgia and sense of home that resonated far beyond Denver's own roots. In 2014, West Virginia honored the song by adopting it as one of its official state songs, further cementing John Denver's lasting legacy in American music and culture. Denver was not just a musician, but a passionate advocate for environmental protection and humanitarian causes. He used his fame as a platform to raise awareness about conservation, world hunger, and peace. In the 1970s and 1980s, he founded WinStar Foundation, an organization devoted to environmental education and sustainability. He also served as a spokesman for UNICEF and worked tirelessly on behalf of global humanitarian efforts. His music often reflected his ideals, celebrating the earth, promoting love and unity, and urging listeners to protect the world around them. Denver's charismatic presence extended beyond the recording studio and concert stage. He was a popular television personality, hosting shows like The John Denver Special, where his warm, friendly demeanor and genuine connection with audiences shone brightly. He also ventured into acting and appeared in several films and television specials, further showcasing his versatile talents and appeal. John Denver's first marriage was to Annie Martell in 1967. Annie, originally from St. Peter, Minnesota, was not only Denver's life partner, but also his muse and inspiration for some of his most enduring music. Their relationship blossomed at a time when Denver was still an emerging artist, and Annie's presence brought him emotional grounding amid the early challenges of a burgeoning career. One of the most famous songs inspired directly by Annie was Annie's Song, a heartfelt ballad he composed in an astonishingly short amount of time, just 10 minutes, while sitting on a ski lift in Colorado. This quick burst of creative genius perfectly captured the depth of his love and appreciation for Annie, expressing a serene and profound connection to her and the natural beauty surrounding them. From 1968 until 1971, the couple made their home in Edina, Minnesota, a suburban setting that contrasted with Denver's later affinity for the mountains, but provided a stable base during his rise to fame. As Denver's career took off, especially after the release of the iconic Rocky Mountain High, his love for the outdoors and the mountains grew deeper. This particular song was inspired by a memorable camping trip he took with Annie and close friends, an experience that rekindled his passion for nature and became a central theme in much of his music and public identity. Motivated by this connection, Denver purchased a residence in Aspen, Colorado, a place that embodied the rugged natural landscape he cherished and would call home for the rest of his life. Aspen became a sanctuary for Denver, a place where he could retreat from the pressures of fame and immerse himself in the beauty of the Rocky Mountains. The Denvers expanded their family through adoption, bringing 2 children into their lives, a son named Zachary John and a daughter named Anna Kate. Denver often spoke about how these adoptions felt like destiny, saying that Zachary and Anna Kate were meant to be theirs, suggesting a deep spiritual connection and sense of purpose in their family life. Denver's identity as a father was profoundly important to him. In his own words, he would say, "I'll tell you the best thing about me. I'm some guy's dad. I'm some little gal's dad. When I die, Zachary John and Anna Kate's father, boy, that's enough for me to be remembered by. That's more than enough." This statement reflected the core of his values, that beyond the music and the fame, being a devoted father was the legacy he treasured most. Zachary even inspired Denver's song "A Baby Just Like You," which includes the warm, tender line, "Merry Christmas, little Zachary," a track Denver originally wrote for Frank Sinatra but deeply connected to his personal life. Despite the love and family they built together, John Denver and Annie Martell's marriage eventually came to an end in 1982. The pressures and demands of Denver's skyrocketing career played a significant role in their separation. In a candid 1983 interview featured in the documentary John Denver, Country Boy, 2013, Denver reflected that the relentless demands of his career had driven a wedge between them, making it difficult to maintain the closeness and intimacy that had once defined their relationship. Annie Martell later shared her perspective, noting that they were simply too young and immature to handle the sudden fame and lifestyle changes that John's success brought. Their divorce was not only emotional, but symbolically marked by a memorable moment. To illustrate the dividing of their shared assets, Denver cut their marital bed in half with a chainsaw. This dramatic act underscored the raw and painful reality of their split, as well as Denver's complex, sometimes impulsive personality. After several years, Denver found love again, marrying Australian actress Cassandra Delaney in 1988, following a 2-year courtship. Their relationship seemed promising as they settled into Denver's beloved home in Aspen, Colorado. The couple welcomed a daughter named Jessie Bell, adding another chapter to Denver's life as a father. However, the marriage was short-lived, with the couple separating in 1991 and finalizing their divorce in 1993. Denver's feelings about his second marriage were notably candid and somewhat bitter. He once remarked that, "Before our short-lived marriage ended in divorce, she managed to make a fool of me from one end of the valley to the other." This statement hinted at the personal difficulties and emotional turmoil he experienced during the relationship, reflecting a more complicated and painful side of his private life that contrasted with the gentle, nature-loving public persona he cultivated through his music. For decades, the sudden and tragic death of John Denver remained shrouded in a mix of confusion, speculation, and unanswered questions. Fans and observers alike wondered what really happened on that fateful day in October 1997 when the beloved singer-songwriter, known for his gentle voice, heartfelt lyrics, and deep connection to nature, lost his life in a plane crash. Now, after years of investigation, insider revelations, and careful analysis of the events leading up to the accident, the mystery has finally been solved. But the truth, as it turns out, is far more unsettling than anyone expected. John Denver was an accomplished pilot, but on October 12, 1997, while piloting his own experimental aircraft, the Rutan Long-EZ, something went horribly wrong. Initially, the official reports pointed to pilot error or mechanical failure, but over time, more complex details emerged. Investigators revealed that Denver had been struggling with certain critical cockpit control issues. Specifically, the fuel selector valve was in the wrong position, which led to fuel starvation. This caused the engine to fail mid-flight, resulting in the crash into the Pacific Ocean off California's coast. However, further examination exposed deeper problems. The plane itself had design flaws that were not fully disclosed or understood, and the safety features were inadequate. John Denver had reportedly complained about problems with the fuel system prior to the flight, but had not received proper guidance or repairs. This negligence and the lack of proper support from the aircraft's manufacturer contributed significantly to the fatal accident. Beyond the mechanical causes, the mystery also extends to John Denver's personal life in the years before his death. While publicly he was known for his upbeat songs and environmental activism, behind the scenes he faced significant struggles. He battled emotional turmoil, the pressures of fame, and complicated personal relationships, including a difficult divorce that left lasting scars. Some reports suggest he was dealing with bouts of depression and was under immense stress, factors that might have impacted his judgment on that day. Though speculation about substance abuse has circulated, there has never been concrete evidence to implicate drugs or alcohol in the crash. Instead, the tragedy appears to be a perfect storm of technical failure and human frailty, an unkind intersection that claimed the life of a man who inspired millions. One of the most distressing aspects of this revelation is how it complicates the legacy of John Denver. For years, fans have held on to an image of him as the wholesome, nature-loving troubadour who lived harmoniously with the world. But knowing that neglected safety warnings and possible lapses in judgment contributed to his death adds a bitter edge to the narrative. Moreover, some critics argue that the tragedy could have been prevented had Denver been given proper training, better equipment, or more thorough inspections of his aircraft. This raises uncomfortable questions about responsibility and accountability, not only for the pilot, but for the aviation industry's regulation of experimental planes. The final solution to the John Denver mystery serves as a cautionary tale on multiple fronts. For fans, it's a painful reminder that fame and talent do not shield anyone from human vulnerabilities or unforeseen dangers. For the aviation community, it underscores the critical importance of rigorous safety standards, transparent communication about aircraft risks, and thorough pilot education, especially for those flying experimental or home-built planes. In recent years, John Denver's story has inspired renewed advocacy for better pilot training and stricter oversight of light aircraft, aiming to prevent similar tragedies in the future. The lessons learned from this somber case are a legacy in their own right, ensuring that the tragic mystery does not repeat itself with other pilots or aviation enthusiasts.